Have you ever stopped to think that perhaps you were sharing things that should never have left your mind? It may sound controversial, but the habit of revealing everything, from your biggest dreams to your difficulties, could be sabotaging your life without you realizing it. The truth is that we live in a world where oversharing has become the norm, but few understand the cost of it. Brian Tracy, a master of life strategies, has always warned, some things are not meant to be shared. And here's the crux. While you believe you're being authentic, you're actually opening the door to unnecessary criticism, wasted energy, and even unfair competition. It may seem counterintuitive, but keeping certain information in mind can be the difference between achieving your goals or seeing them fall apart before they even begin. Want to find out what really needs to be protected to ensure your success? So stick around, because what you're about to learn will change your view of what it means to be strategically reserved. You know that moment when you feel a spark inside you, a glimpse of what your future could be? It's like finding buried treasure in the middle of nowhere. What many don't understand, however, is that this treasure is not meant to be shown off to everyone. Brian Tracy, in his teachings, reminds us that protecting our dreams is like guarding a precious seed. Imagine planting a seedling in fertile soil, only to uproot it every time someone passes by and questions whether it will actually grow. You wouldn't do that, right? Your dreams deserve the same care. They need time to put down roots before facing the critical eye of the world. When you share your big plans with random people, it's like opening the door to your house and letting the wind mess everything up. Some may turn up their noses. Others may launch criticism disguised as concern. Is this going to work? Or isn't it too risky? These words, even when spoken without malicious intent, can be like weeds, choking your motivation. Therefore, hold your plans firmly and only reveal them when you are ready to show concrete results. Until then, stay focused. Remember, motivation is more fragile than it seems. History is full of examples of people who followed this principle. Steve Jobs, for example, didn't go around telling everyone about the Macintosh before he was even remotely prepared to face the market. He worked in silence, refining his vision. Do you want a practical example to apply this to your life? If you are planning to open a business, start with the initial steps without fuss. Test, validate, and adjust your ideas without involving a battalion of onlookers. It is in this strategic silence that the magic happens. It is not a question of selfishness, but of wisdom. Guarding your dreams does not mean isolating yourself, but rather choosing carefully who has the privilege of hearing them. Choose mentors, trustworthy people who really believe in you. Brian Tracy has always emphasized the importance of surrounding yourself with positive influences. And mind you, this is not about being paranoid, but strategic. Your energy should be used to build, not to justify your ambitions to skeptics. Now, it may seem contradictory to say that keeping your dreams a secret will help you achieve them, but think of it as preparing a surprise. Imagine you are organizing a birthday party. Telling everyone before everything is ready ruins the surprise, doesn't it? The same applies to your goals. The difference is that, in this case, the surprise is not for others, but for yourself, when you see the positive impact of what you have accomplished. And if you still feel like keeping secrets can feel lonely, remember that it also strengthens your discipline. It's easy to depend on the validation of others to keep you going, but true strength comes from within. Every small advance you make in silence is like a small private victory. Keep these victories like invisible medals that you carry on your chest. They will keep you focused, even when the days seem difficult. In fact, there is another interesting detail. Silence can be incredibly powerful when it comes to dealing with setbacks and future strategies. But this is another story that deserves your special attention. Have you ever noticed how society has a strange obsession with exposing vulnerabilities? Don't get me wrong, being transparent has its place, but there is a limit. Putting all your struggles out there can be like walking around with a sign that says, "I'm fragile, criticize me." Brian Tracy often emphasized the importance of using our challenges as internal fuel, not as public headlines. Every struggle you face is a brick in the building of your character, and bricks don't need spotlights to support a house. Imagine you are going through a difficult financial period. Telling everyone this without purpose only increases the pressure and opens up space for unsolicited advice. Instead, use this time to reflect and reevaluate your priorities. For example, if bills are piling up, start listing small budget adjustments. How about a book by Brian Tracy himself, like Goals, to help you reset your financial priorities? It's at these times when discreet action trumps self-pity. There is also the issue of energy. Talking incessantly about your setbacks can drain you emotionally. Think about it. Each time you relive the problem, it gains more strength within you. Instead of repeating the same talk of hardships, try writing down your struggles in a personal journal. By writing, you organize your thoughts without the interference of external judgments. This not only brings clarity, but also keeps your energy focused on finding solutions. Of course, this doesn't mean you should pretend everything is perfect. There's a difference between hiding your struggles and denying them. The secret is in selecting who you trust with this information. People who have been through similar challenges or who have the experience to offer helpful advice are a wise choice. However, sharing your pain with those who just want to listen for the sake of listening is like pouring water into a leaky bucket. It leads nowhere. Brian Tracy also reinforces that keeping control over what you share increases your resilience. When you face setbacks silently and strategically, you end up developing an internal strength that few have. It's not about carrying the weight of the world alone, but about creating a safe space where you can process your challenges without unnecessary interference. Think about the example of great athletes. They don't talk about every failed workout or injury on their social media. Instead, they work in silence to rebuild themselves and come back stronger. Do the same. Turn your struggles into a silent force that fuels your progress. If something went wrong at work, for example, don't go complaining in every hallway. Take a moment to think about what you can adjust and implement it calmly. And speaking of recovery strategies and internal strength, the next step is just as important as knowing how to deal with setbacks, protecting your future plans and movements. But about that, let's talk later. You know that feeling of having a brilliant idea and wanting to tell everyone about it? It's almost irresistible. But here's the secret. Resistance is key. Brian Tracy always reminds us that the most effective strategies are those that surprise. It's like a game of chess. If you reveal your next move, you lose the advantage. No matter how excited you are, discretion is the basis of any successful move. Revealing your strategies too early can give others a chance to get ahead of themselves. Imagine you are planning to open a restaurant with an innovative concept. Telling this to acquaintances or even on social media can make someone pick up the idea and execute it before you do. Instead, keep your plans secret until they are ready to come to life. Test your concept with confidence and discretion. For example, quietly research locations, hold private tastings, and validate your model with people you trust. Additionally, protecting your future moves avoids the anxiety of having to meet others' expectations. When you share your plans, even partially, people have expectations. If something goes wrong along the way, you may feel pressured or even judged. Working quietly, on the other hand, allows you to adjust your route without fuss. As Brian Tracy points out, your journey is yours, and no one needs to know the details until you are ready. Many of the world's most successful leaders keep their next moves under wraps until the time is right. Elon Musk, for example, only announces his projects when they are already underway or when he has a clear strategic advantage. For you, this may mean keeping your business ideas, career plans, or investments private until they are solid enough. It's no secret that actions speak louder than words. How about focusing on doing before talking? And there's more. When you protect your strategy, it creates an effect of mystery. People are curious, but without having enough information to interfere. This is particularly useful in a competitive environment. If you work on an innovative project in the office, share only what is necessary with your team and focus on showing results, not intentions. It's an approach that matches Brian Tracy's strategic style, focused on execution. Still, protecting your movements doesn't mean isolating yourself. Select wisely who to trust. Mentors, strategic partners, and trusted colleagues are valuable allies. However, remember, the less people know, the less they can interfere. This also gives you the flexibility to change direction if necessary without having to justify each decision. Now, when we think about protecting plans, the idea of storing valuable knowledge also comes to mind. And that, my friend, is a point that deserves your full attention. Let's talk about this later. There is a quiet power in knowing something that others don't. This is not about arrogance, but about strategy. Brian Tracy has always emphasized the importance of preserving certain knowledge and experiences as personal assets. Imagine you have a unique recipe for a spectacular dish. If you share the secret with everyone, you lose the element that makes it special. The same goes for skills and experiences acquired throughout life. Keeping some secrets is an act of intelligence, not selfishness. Consider, for example, that you have developed your own technique to increase your productivity at work. If you share this with a colleague who just wants to gain an advantage, you may end up seeing your idea used against you. Instead of revealing everything, apply the technique discreetly and impress with the results. Want to know where to start? Try methods like Brian Tracy's task prioritization system, known as the frog rule. Master it before teaching it to others. Furthermore, saving certain experiences strengthens your position in strategic situations. Imagine a game of poker. You don't reveal all your cards ahead of time, right? The same goes for the real world. If you have a unique skill or valuable learning, share only when it is necessary or beneficial. This creates an effect of mystery and can open unexpected doors. It's about dosing what you reveal at the right time to the right people. Maintaining an arsenal of reserved knowledge also protects you from unnecessary judgment and criticism. For example, if you decided to invest in an expensive course to improve your skills, you don't need to justify it to everyone. Just let the results speak for themselves. This approach is even more effective in competitive areas, where discretion is often confused with modesty. But in reality, it is pure strategy. This doesn't mean you should close yourself off completely. Sharing knowledge can be an incredible way to build connections. But the difference is in the how and with whom. Brian Tracy has always taught that the best partnerships are those based on exchanging value, not free exposure. So when you share something, think about what you can also learn or gain in return. It's a smart exchange, not a donation. Take time to reflect on what knowledge and experiences you want to protect. Think of it as building a fortress around your most valuable skills. If you're good at something, keep improving in silence and only reveal it when it really makes a difference. For example, if you're learning a language or developing a technical skill, practice until you're confident to use it to your advantage. Have you ever noticed how some people can weather storms with an almost disconcerting calm? It's not that they don't feel emotions. Of course they do. But what sets them apart is the ability to control how these emotions manifest themselves. Brian Tracy has always reinforced the idea that expressing emotions in a controlled way is a powerful tool. It's not about hiding what you feel, but about choosing when and how to show it. Think about a tense meeting at work. While some colleagues may lose their temper and let out frustrations, the person who stays calm usually comes out with the upper hand. A clear example of this is the way effective leaders deal with crises. They rarely show panic or despair, even when the situation is critical. For you, it might mean taking a deep breath before reacting to an unpleasant comment or practicing neutral responses to moments of tension. It's like Brian Tracy teaches, self-control is a form of self-leadership. Controlling the expression of emotions also helps build trust. People who can maintain their composure convey security, and this is valuable in both personal and professional relationships. For example, if you are negotiating a contract, showing excessive enthusiasm or frustration can give the other side a strategic advantage. Instead, maintain an even tone. This not only preserves your position, but also creates a more productive climate for dialogue. But how to develop this skill? A simple technique is the practice of conscious pausing. Before reacting to any emotionally charged situation, pause for a few seconds. Use this time to assess the impact of your reaction. Books like Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman are a valuable read for anyone looking to delve deeper into this type of control. Another practical tip: observe people you admire for their serenity and learn from their reactions. Furthermore, Controlling emotions does not mean repressing them. Repressing feelings can generate accumulated frustrations, which eventually explode. The idea here is to channel them in a constructive way. If something at work or in your personal life bothers you, use that as motivation to improve. Write, exercise, or pursue a project that diverts your mind. When you master this emotional redirection, you begin to transform adversities into fuel. Humor is also an underrated tool. Knowing how to laugh at yourself or the situation is a way to release tension without losing control. Imagine you are facing a long queue or a mistake that has messed up your plans. Instead of letting your irritation take over, find something light to think about or laugh about. Tracy often talked about how a positive outlook can turn difficult times into learning experiences. Finally, remember that controlling your emotions is not a journey of perfection, but of progress. Each time you react in a more rational and balanced way, you are strengthening your ability to deal with the unpredictable. And do you know what this connects? When you master your emotions, everything else, from keeping secrets to protecting strategies, flows more naturally and powerfully. Have you realized the power of protecting certain parts of yourself? Knowing what to share and, above all, what to keep for yourself is a skill that differentiates those who achieve success from those who live only in the field of ideas. True transformation begins when you decide to act strategically and use these truths to your advantage. But here's the final provocation. What are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you continue exposing your mind and emotions to the world? Or will you take control of your life and act intelligently? Reflect. What dreams, struggles, strategies, or emotions are you sharing without thinking? It's time to protect its potential as a masterpiece. And speaking of potential, do you really want to continue sabotaging yourself, or are you ready for a new level of self-mastery? Answer yourself honestly. I will be here, ready to help you walk this path of self-sufficiency and achievement. Now, don't forget, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, you will always find powerful insights, like the teachings of Tracy, to transform your life and your strategies into concrete results. Don't waste time. The next step in your growth could be just a click away. See you in the next content.